What's up, guys, and welcome back to Gabe Miller Music. No video on me today because I'm on a bit of a time crunch, so I need to be able to get this done with minimal editing for this week. So today we are looking at the making of my latest song. This is a psychedelic trance track, which is a genre that I have not ventured to before today, and I really enjoyed making this, and I'm pretty pumped with how it came out, so let's go into the making of it. So I'm going to go ahead and play the final part on the loop, the kind of part that everything was building to. This is pretty much all of the elements playing at once. So I'm going to just build it up piece by piece, and then I'm going to talk about the different stuff that went into the different elements. So let's start with the kick. So there's really not a ridiculous amount of tracks going on. A lot of these other tracks over here are ambiance and sound effects, and then stuff that I duplicated so I wouldn't have to deal with automation as much, volume and such like. So I'm going to go into the drums first of all. Let's start with the kick. In this kick drum, I have it tuned to the key of the song because EDM kick drums tend to have a lot of low end to them, and usually that low end has a specific note to it. And you want that in the key of the song so that it doesn't fight with the bass, and so it doesn't cause any weird low-end dissonance. I have a little bit of EQ on here, so I'll play what it sounded like before. So there's a little bass boost, and a little high-end cut, just bringing out the punchiness and the roundness of the kick. On top of that, we got a thingy I programmed in using my MIDI keyboard and some samples that were in the drum machine builder. That's built in Logic. Most of the processing on this was already there, and the main thing I did was to add a phaser. Adds to that tripped out feel, and also adds a bit of width to that sound. And then on top of that, so this here, a loop, an Apple loop actually, and it used to sound like this. Add a bunch of reverb, providing a little bit of ambiance, and then the thing providing the majority of the clap and the ride is this loop. So that is the drums. They're relatively simple, a lot of 16th notes and a lot of stuff to make it very fast and peppy. And now let's move on to the bass. So here is the bass. And I will take off all the processing and show you what I did here. So this is an ES2 patch that I modified a bit, and I have an arpeggio on so that I can hit any key and hold it down and it automatically does the 16th note thing. Logic has a great built-in arpeggiator. And then I did a bit of EQ because there was a bit too much bass in there, so alright, so that's the EQ, and then after that, one of the main things about the patch was that it was a bit too wide, and I wanted a more focused sound. With it wide, it just didn't work well with the kick. It sounded kind of smushed all over the place. I wanted a more punchy, focused sound, so I got on this direction mixer plugin that's built in Logic, and just left a bit of width in, but just reined it into a reasonable amount. So here's without, here's with. That cleans it up a lot. A little delay, I don't think that's... No, it's not doing anything. Ha! And limiter just to catch any peaks. And then finally, one of my favorite plugins of all time, LFO Tool, which basically what it is, it's an alternate way of getting that pumping sound without using sidechain compression. So it just gives me a bit more control, and it's a bit easier and quicker to set up. So here's without, here's with. And that's the bass in a nutshell. That's doing pretty much all the heavy lifting, and then a couple other subtly layered in basses. This one. It's another ES2 patch, and I have LFO tool on that again, and a bit of other processing like a bit crusher and all that kind of stuff. And then finally this one. Providing it a bit of tone, so you got these. That's a lot of the track right there, as you can hear. Alrighty, now we move into the pads, and I've got 2 of them here, and I will just play them both together for you so you can kind of hear what each is doing. I'll play them individually, so here's this one. So that one's providing all like the warmth, the lower mids, the mids, and then this one's providing all that high end. They both complement each other. So let me go into the processing on this one. It's pretty minimal. It's a massive patch, and I've just got a bit of low cut filter on there, and then LFO tool pumping it subtly, and then the other one, so that's this. And then this pad, I did a bit more to it. I have an EQ to catch any extra low end, and then LFO tool. And a spreader plugin that's built into Logic, so add a bit of width and separation. And then finally we got the melody stuff, so the leads. So there's 2 of them here. So let's go to this first one. That's a massive patch. So here's what it originally sounded like. Bit of reverb. Fairly minimal processing on that. And then finally, this electric guitar-ish patch. I made this patch for an earlier song I did called Somnambulist. It was a hip-hop track, and I reused the processing and patch on this track. So let me go into the processing on it. So it started out as just a basic ES2 patch. Then some EQ. Pedal board. Delay. Amp. Reverb. And LFO tool. Then together. So that's the majority of the track right there. And then I'm going to go into, real quick, one of the breakdowns to comment on a few other things. So we got this right here. So first of all, we got the bass, and that bass is a duplicate track. It's just a bunch of EQ, making it just a muffled, minimal element that you can barely pick out, but it's still there. And that slowly lifts over time. And then we got this pad. Strings. Just a built-in sound and Logic. And then finally this pad makes a comeback. As you can see, it's got a high cut on it that's automated to lift over the course of this, so it brings it in slowly and builds on the energy of the track. And I do this all over the song, high cut filter automation, and this is a very common technique that's used in a lot of EDM production, and I did it all over the place here to kind of slowly bring in elements. So that's that. And then finally, in the intro, we got some sound effects. So I'm going to just go into that real quick. These were all massive presets. Nothing too complicated, just a bunch of them kind of layered. I just spent a bunch of time just looking through sounds and found a few that I liked, and then layered them and then processed them a bit. So there's this one. I processed them a bit, so here's without the processing. Then I did some extreme EQ. And then Bit Crusher. Alrighty, that is it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you're interested in producing this genre, hopefully you found it helpful for your own productions. I do a new song on this channel every other Monday, and on the Mondays without songs, an audio geek video, usually a video that shows the making of the latest song. So please subscribe for that. You'll get a new video from me every single week. I'm Gabe, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.